Mental illness and the stigma affects many people. Mental health is just as important as our physical health. A group of students from Rhodes College has come together to have a conversation about mental illnesses and how we can battle the stigma. The purpose is to simply educate ourselves and others so we can ultimately eliminate the stigma. I too have been recently affected by mental illness in my family. I just really want to educate myself so I can educate my family, and then we can help the person that's in my family that's battling with this mental illness, and I just want to support her.
So for me, mental health has never been part of my big life, worries and struggles and things like that until I came to college. And that's when stresses started building up. And I think generally for students in college, that's when mental health issues arise in your early 20s. And so first it was depression, and I went to a college counselor and eventually spoke with a psychiatrist and dealt with the personal stigma of being prescribed medication and the difficulties of feeling like that's okay and being able to accept that about myself. So that was sort of my first experience, but it branched off from there.
I think I've always kind of just been aware of my mental health, coming from like a difficult location and a difficult background. I knew that I had some struggles going on. I knew that I was depressed before for a long time. And I knew coming into college that it would be what I needed to focus on if I was going to be successful. So like within a month, I was at the counseling center. It took a while for me to get a diagnosis because I just had so many different symptoms, and it all just kind of happened so fast, and life happens.
I think it's been difficult just to talk about it because I'm so I've dealt with a lot of emotions of shame and feeling like people won't understand, people will judge me, and I'll lose relationships or I'll just be looked down upon. And so I don't really talk about it unless I'm with like a really personal group of friends or someone close.
I know my academics has been a struggle with my mental health because I'll when some days I won't be able to get out of bed, or I won't be able to do an assignment, I won't be able to actually think straight. Mm-hmm. So sometimes I would have to go talk to professors and just telling them like I'm struggling is so difficult. I know the big thing about mental illness is that you have to be able to talk about it. You have to be able to own it sometimes, and just be able to talk about it.
Yeah. Just having the conversation really challenges a lot of the norms around mental health and mental illness. And that way it really does bring to light some of these really human things that we all go through, these issues that everyone faces. So thank you for talking with me about it.
Hi, I'm Miriam. I'm the Publicity Chair of Active Minds at Rhodes College, a 4-year-old organization that started my freshman year. And in the 4 years that our organization has existed, I've definitely seen a really significant decrease in stigma against mental illness and a really amazing change in how we think about and talk about mental health on campus. My freshman year, nobody talked about the counseling center, and when someone suggested that I go, I was like a little offended. But it changed my Rhodes experience, and I don't think I would have been here without taking leave if I hadn't found the counseling center when I did. And going from that awkward sitting in the counseling center waiting room and awkwardly making eye contact with someone and looking down and not wanting to see people that and now my senior year knowing who's going to be there on the same day as me and having a conversation in the waiting room and seeing Active Minds programming materials in there is just a really cool thing. But through working with Active Minds and bringing speakers to campus to sort of break down stigma against mental illness and raise awareness and conversation, a lot of the programming that we've done has really worked to change that conversation and really combat a lot of misconceptions that people have about mental illness. I think especially with mental health and suicide, because there's so much misconception about like it being just being sad or scared or stressed out, and sort of because mental illness stems from these things that are integral to the human experience, I think it's really easy for people to write it off as insignificant. Raising awareness and facilitating conversation in a productive way is really important with mental health, but like the alternative of not talking about it is what is keeping suicide as the second leading cause of death among our demographic.
You're not alone, together we stand. I'll be by your side, you know I'll take your hand.
When it gets cold and it feels like the end, there's no place to go, you know I won't give in. No, I won't give in.
Keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through. Just stay strong, 'cause you know I'm here for you, I'm here for you. There's nothing you can say, nothing you can do. There's no other way when it comes to the truth. So keep holding on, 'cause you know we'll make it through, we'll make it through.
So far away, I wish you were here. Before it's too late, this could all disappear. Before the doors close and it comes to an end, with you by my side, I will fight